This is why I train in martial arts. I did a Venn diagram before where I talked about some problems that exist in my three beloved communities: black community, hip hop community, martial arts community. But now I'm going to talk about the values that I found upheld in my three beloved communities. These are probably not the only ones, but these are the main ones I see. I see volunteerism, I see respect for elders, community, tradition, and patriotism. As far as volunteerism goes, there's nothing more noble that you could do as a martial artist than to teach the martial arts to those who need it the most and to teach it for nothing. That's why a lot of people, even though they have very busy jobs, they would definitely let the martial arts be their avocation. There are a lot of people that'll teach for free out of a church, out of a local community center, something like that, YMCA. They'll teach for little or for very little. Now, this is not to disparage the people that make a living at it. No, absolutely not. But you will never hear, or I should say, you will rarely hear anybody who thinks poorly of someone who uses their martial arts as a tool to volunteer for the community, to give their skill back to the community. It's not going to happen. And the black community and hip hop too, they're very big on volunteerism. You're always going to find people trying to get you to volunteer for this, volunteer for that, especially for you to go help out people that live in like the inner city or something like that. Because a lot of black Americans are dealing with a lot of social injustice issues. So a lot of volunteer programs really help with that. So that's something I see really promoted and appreciated and revered in all three of my communities. And another thing I see revered more and propped up in my three communities is a respect for the elders. Of course, in the black community, you're talking about people's literal elders in their family, their aunts and uncles and so forth. In the hip hop community, it's the elder rappers, the rappers who came before. Even a lot of today's, if you talk to anybody that's really into trap music, or a lot of trap rappers that are coming up, or at least in my town, they got some old school rappers that they look up to and that they admire. And another thing, even the people that do the thug rap or the gangster rap, they respect the OGs, the original gangsters. That's what they call them. That's their elder that they look up to. And of course, in the martial arts community, there's a big respect for the founders of whatever style that it is that you are studying. If Jigoro Kano walked the earth today for judo, I'm sure he wouldn't have to work because I'm sure all of his judokas would pay his bills. In Taekwondo, we believe that General Choi could do no wrong. When he passed away not too long ago. If he was still here, he'd be revered. I seen people in the online forums still asking about Grandmaster Jun Ree. That's an elder. It's an elder. He came before. People look up to Chuck Norris. You've seen a lot of the Chuck Norris can kill a dinosaur with his feet or whatever. Well, he's an elder in the martial arts because he came before. Bruce Lee. Enough said about Bruce Lee. I have a lot of respect for a lot of instructors I've had because they came before me. Whether or not they're chronologically older than me, because some of them are not, but I still have a lot of respect for them for what they did, because they came before me. They're the elders in the martial arts, so they get mad props. They get a lot of respect. And you know what? Even older people in general by martial artists, I think, because we value the wisdom of the martial arts, we value the wisdoms of the cultures that they came from. And a lot of the older cultures really had a lot of reverence for the elders. So it's rare to find a martial artist, especially any of them worth their skill level, that I would say does not have respect for the elders. All three of my beloved communities also love community. You see a lot of martial arts places, or people want to make fun of kiddie karate. You can do that all you want in kid camps, but that's giving back to the community. That's all part of the community. That's using that particular skill to help make things better for those kids, and that's going to help the entire community. After all, parents need some place to leave their kids, right? Now, when they go to work? Now, what's a big complaint you hear in the black community? They get mad when people leave the community and don't give back. They want you to give back to the community. Same thing with hip hop. Especially in the old days, a lot of people rap as a way to bring attention to issues in their community. People who are doing a lot of the trap rapping and a lot of the so-called gangster rap, what are they still talking about though? They're still shining a light on and describing what they see in their own community because they represent where they're from. Martial artists and people in the black and hip hop communities are big on representing where they're from. In the case of the martial artists, where you from is your style that you study or styles, or your school that you went to, or your organization. That's where you from that you rep. That's your set that you shout out to. Okay. All three of my communities have a lot of traditions. They're big on tradition. You'll start seeing little commonalities, especially, with the black community. Wherever you go, you'll see African Americans kind of greet each other the same way with the head nod, the sense of shared history in the black community, hip hop communities. This all becomes part of tradition. A lot of black Americans and even people who practice hip hop, they're starting to get a lot of respect for Tupac. A lot of black Americans definitely have respect for Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. That's all part of the tradition. In the martial arts, who is the biggest martial arts icon now whose ideas are really part of a tradition and are quoted by both traditional martial artists and mixed martial artists? Bruce Lee. Everybody likes Bruce Lee because now he's part of the tradition of the martial arts, of bringing it from out of Chinese culture to the culture of the world at large. And in martial arts, we bow a lot of times. Those of us who wear uniforms. Those of us who don't use uniforms, who work out in gyms, we all have our protocols and things that we do. We have our ways of addressing the coach or addressing the instructor. All that's part of tradition. All that's part of tradition. And the last place that I want to talk about is patriotism. I have yet to meet an unpatriotic martial artist. I guess they're out there. I haven't met them. A lot of martial artists, especially a lot of instructors, they have prior military experience because of the warrior ethic, the warrior code. And as quiet as it's kept, I don't think there are very few people that are more patriotic than the African American. That includes the ones in hip hop. For a while, a lot of people may scream and protest and criticize some aspects of society that they don't like. They only do it because they believe in the American dream and they want to see the American dream become a reality. It is their form of patriotism. They want to see America become the best it can be. Kind of like how, your mom tells you to do things over and over again because she only wants what's best for you. So, this is my commentary on my three communities: shared values, volunteerism, respect for elders, tradition, community, patriotism. That's my rant, and I'm sticking to it. Peace.